His voice was edged with need. Do you hear me? Do you believe it now? There could be 1,000 ranks between us, and I would not give one damn. Every blue-blooded vein in this body pounds with desire for you.
How dare everyone?
Sir.
Tessa dare.
Madam.
Like, now I understand her pen name, because she dares.
Dares.
I'm Melody Carlisle.
And I'm Sabrina Bradley.
And this is Heaving Bosoms.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout up on the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
This is the podcast where best friends recap romance novels and other kissing media that makes us swoon, snark, and refills our cups.
Whether you've read the book or are coming in blind, we'll lay bare every delicious scene and revel in the tropes and subgenres that make romance amazing.
All right, listener, strap in and strap on. Headphones are highly recommended. Oh, hey.
Well, hello.
Hi.
We had to push this back, but I'm very excited to be here because I've been chomping at the bit to continue talking about Any Duchess Will Do with you.
I know. And my house is dead silent.
Oh my God.
Because
that must be amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's weird. It's all the things. I'm feeling all of the emotions these days. Because, listener, last night, I dropped my family off at JFK Airport, and then I drove away. Like, it was wonderful, and like, they're gonna have so much fun in Taiwan, and it's gonna be so great for 12 days.
But also,
like, watching them like fade into the airport was like,
oh my
one
God,
of the
I'm literally
things.
getting chills because like it's always painful, even when it's not family. Like whenever friends come fly in and visit me, just watching them like walk away and like turn around. Like, do you do the thing where either you're walking into the airport or they're walking into the airport and you're just like, they keep turning back around to wave and you keep waving back and it's like,
I know. And
like,
Michael,
you're like, it's not like they're gone forever.
No,
they're going to be back.
And we're going to
FaceTime
FaceTime and it's going to be great. Like, it's all good. But it was also the sweetest picture in the whole wide world because Michael had 2 giant bags. And so we put the backpacks on the kids. And then he was like, okay, I need your help. I need you to hold each other's hands. And so I just watched them walking and it's Michael and then the 2 kids holding each other's hands with their giant backpacks on. And I was just like, no.
Is this Valor's first time?
It's her
on a
first
big,
time.
long trip?
No, we took her when she was 10 months old. But it's her first time. Yeah, it was a nightmare, honestly.
To Taiwan?
Yeah, she was the worst traveler.
How long is that flight?
It's like 17 hours, depending. Yeah. No, and honestly, like, Ember was a goddamn dreamboat. He would just, like, lay on his little thing, and he would play with us. And, like, it was still a long flight, but he was just, like, a cool hang. Valor, on the other hand, was the nightmare baby. She couldn't be on anybody but me. She couldn't sleep. She was uncomfortable the whole time. She like, oh my gosh, she was screaming. Like, it was an actual nightmare. And I'm a little worried that it's going to be fine.
I'm pretty sure I've told you about this already, like right after I got back from England, but I don't think I said it on pod. I like kids. I like the fact that people take their children on trips. That is entirely your right.
Cultural,
I support you.
Stuff.
It's beautiful. This is definitely controversial, but there are definitely moments on flights where I'm like, are we sure it's illegal to just sedate a child? Like, are we sure that CPS is going to be waiting for you when you get off the plane?
No, Sabrina.
Just a little bit of Benadryl.
I'm
just a little bit.
I'm going to be fully honest with you. After we had that first nightmare flight, we were in Taiwan, and I was like, you know what? We could just see about some baby melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we could try that. We walked.
Well, that's the thing. It's not like I'm saying give them a horse sedative. Okay.
No, certainly not. But like
a little something, something.
Yeah. So we go into a Taiwanese pharmacy, and like they ask for it, and every single human in there looked at us like we were actual monsters. That was just like, don't
guess
understand.
what?
Well, so then we didn't, and it was a nightmare on the way back.
I would have been looking at them like they're actual monsters, because my flight back from England, there were 2 children in one family. One was maybe 3.5, 4, and the other was definitely under a year old. They took turns screaming. It's like they planned it.
Yeah.
The entire 10-hour flight back.
Yeah.
There was no... And then
when it's bad, it's bad.
Another child from a different family kept somehow breaking free as if they have someplace to go on a fucking lipstick tube in the sky, breaking free from their family, running down the aisles and punching us.
Oh, what?
I don't think it was intentionally getting punched, but like they were just flailing. And as you know, youthy youths, like child youths, not a great amount of body control. So I think that they were just flailing.
I don't care. Those parents are actual monsters because, like, don't get me wrong, the plane ride with Valor, we figured out that one of us just had to walk up and down the plane with her roughly the whole time. There were 3 of us.
That sucks. But
so we figured it out. But like, I'm not going to let my kid punch strangers in the arm.
No. To be clear, well, one, for other people, they were lucky enough to get flailed in the arm. I was unlucky enough that I was like curled up on my lap with my head down. And so I just got a full-on smack in the face. And then, which was startling because I'd finally fallen asleep. And then they finally, like, the parents are scrambling, literally, like, what's, like, you know, in, like, animes or, like, cartoons where, like, they come, like, flying around a corner and it's like, skrrr!
Oh, yeah.
And then just, like, right back at, like, fucking going. That was those parents because, of course, the child, like, ran down, got back into the galley area. The flight attendants were like, what the fuck?
I cannot.
But then they got the child. And on the way back, I was like, okay, so maybe it's illegal to drug your child, but are we sure it's illegal to shackle your child? Because those feet were flying. And I was like,
baby leashes.
I need you to truss that puppy up like the cutest goddamn Thanksgiving turkey you've ever seen. But like I said,
No,
I love kids. Enjoy it. I'm so glad they got to go see England and enjoy themselves, and it was wonderful. I just wish you weren't such a terror.
No, I hear you. Well, yeah. So then we didn't, get any melatonin or anything for children in Taiwan. So
well, yeah, because they're going to report you for Taiwanese Child Protective Services.
Something, yeah. So, like, we did the flight on the way back, and I'm telling Erin this story afterwards, and she was like, you know what Alaskan parents call melatonin, right? And I was like, what? No, what? And she goes, nighttime vitamins. Because, like, in the summer, it never gets dark, And so, like, you put the dark shades on, but then a lot of times kids need something a little bit more to, like, get their sleep patterns normal. So apparently it's totally normal in a lot of places to give your children melatonin. That's bullshit. Anyway, so, yeah, I didn't, and I should have. All right, I should have looked at those judgmental people right in their beautiful faces, and I should have said, go fuck yourself.
Be like, if I want to give my baby nighttime vitamins, I will give my baby nighttime vitamins.
Anyway, yeah, it's the first day without them, and I did sleep until 10, I'll tell you that much.
Ooh, I'll bet that was so nice.
Yeah, I woke up and the sun was all the way up, and I was like, oh.
So I almost texted you. So I woke up at 9,
yeah,
which was 10 your time. And I was almost like, hey, if you wanted to record earlier, we could definitely do that. And then I was like, actually, Mel's probably still sleeping. Like,
it was beautiful.
Mel deserves a little bit of a lie-in.
Yeah, it was nice. So before we get into this book, we get to shout out a bunch of people who joined our Patreon. And I'm so excited
you.
about it.
We're so excited. In fact, so excited that we're slipping this back in a little bit because
I was going to say, we might sound a little stilted and weird, and it's because we're actually recording this about 50 minutes into the recording, and then I'm going to do some post magic and put it up top.
we mostly just got really excited that Patreon was already put together. And I was like, Mel, I'm so proud of you. This is incredible.
Yeah.
How wonderful. And then...
then we just got into the book. Okay, but now, before we do that, Sabrina, remember, it's before... We would like to welcome Stephanie and Alicia P.,
Jessica and Patricia L.,
Linda B. and Anna,
Charlotte F. and Megan G.M.,
Ida P. and Samantha K.,
and lastly but not leastly, Kristen C.E. and Devin K. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so deeply for everything that you help us make possible.
Yeah, and I don't know, we just have so much fun on the Patreon too, and so I love sharing that with people.
Hell yeah.
In addition to doing HOSAB, the House of Sky and Breath right now, we just had our 50 Shades Darker watch party.
Oh my God.
And God, that was fun. Do you know when our 50 Shades Freed watch party is going to be?
So our next 50 Shades watch party, which is the last watch party, is going to be on March the 8th. So
Ooh.
That's coming up soon
Yeah, if
when
you
this
wanna come-
episode comes out.
I know. If you want to come hang with us on March 8th,
We
it'll
always
be
have a
super
blast,
fun.
and everybody immediately knows my tell now and calls me out really aggressively
Oh, yeah.
when something happens on
yeah.
screen.
When she's having some pants feelings but doesn't want to talk about it.
It's so different. It's not just you and me, and I can pretend that nobody
know.
else is listening.
I know.
Any hoodle. So
Yeah.
March 8th. Can't
And
wait to
then-
see you.
Oh, yeah. And then we also have some, after March 8th in April, we're going to start doing author hangs as well. So we'll be bopping in between author hangs and watch parties. And I'm super excited.
Yeah. So April 12th, Friday evening, will be our next watch party with Victoria Aveline, and we're going to be doing lots of fun things. We'll get to talk to her about some of her books that are coming up soon. We're going to be doing rom-com trivia with her. And then we're going to just kind of hang out and talk books.
Yeah.
Because the point of an author hang is that you get to come interact with them too. This isn't intended to be just an interview where Mel and I are asking a ton of questions. This is come fucking hang out with some authors that we've loved on the podcast.
Absolutely. It's an author hang and it's a good time. So yeah, April 12th and that's Ember's birthday too. So that'll be exciting. Yay.
Aw. You're going to
Okay.
be hyped.
I am going to be hyped. Yeah. Hopefully I'll have lots of cake in my body. Okay.
All right,
now
so-
we're going to scoodle doop and we're going to say brrr-doo-doo. Now it's time for book.
Oh, thank goodness. I did. Oh my goodness. Okay. So one, wow, I can't stop thinking about this Discord message because I was about to be like, as we're about to get back on track, we've never been on track. We literally, somebody for the episode commentary, and I don't remember who said it, but apparently in the HOSAB episode that went up on Friday, I have no memory of this, but you and I were just bantering back and forth like fucking shotgun, like machine gun fire banter. And then we were about to get started and I was like, wait, hang on. I'm going to derail us before let me derail us a little bit.
There were no rails.
Well, they were like, you haven't even been railed yet. And I was like,
That you're not wrong.
no, you're not. And yeah, and now that's all I can think about. That's all I'm going to be able to think about for the rest of
Haven't even been
Anyway.
railed, everyone.
Yeah, haven't. Well, now I've derailed myself again. Let's just get into the book. Oh, I dreamed. I dreamed about Any Duchess Will Do.
Incredible.
It was bonkers. It made no sense. I'm also pretty sure there were like 18 other historicals showing up in the middle of it. But I was like, I woke up and I was like, I might need to do a Tessa Dare reread, specifically Spindle Cove.
Those books are so good. We should do a Patreon episode on
A Week to Be Wicked.
That's the one, the road trip one. Fucking Minerva.
I feel like, honestly, all of them come back. Like, we're seeing the first book people and
Susanna.
And so I think the second book too has
because
showed
everybody,
up.
Spindle Cove ladies stick together. You must.
Their female friendships are just wow,
wonderful. Okay, so when we left
we'll definitely
off,
look into that.
There had been a finger bang that was the end of all finger bangs, and then she was like, "Take me upstairs because this might be my last chance to ever have good sex." And he was like, "I would love to, but I can't. I just can't.
I can't because I'm a sad boy.
I'm a sad broken boy." Yeah.
So then the next morning, when she walks into the fucking dining room, or I'm sorry, dining hall, Griff stands for her. Like he would stand for a lady. And then immediately his mama, the Duchess, is like, "Oh, interesting. You have the day off. I'm leaving. Goodbye." And she looks at Griff and she's like, "Dude, you can't be doing that shit. This makes it very clear that something's happened."
Yeah, like this makes it very clear that something has changed between us. And he looks her dead in the eye and he said, "Something has changed between us." It's so much, you guys. Oh,
and then he tells her, he's like, "We're going out. Go get your wrap."
Yeah.
"Sir, where are we going?" And then, guess what, listener?
The best date in the whole wide world.
The sexiest thing that could have... You want to talk about a tax-deductible ass?
God
this
damn
man
it.
has one. Actually, that's entirely inaccurate. He's landed gentry, but...
No, but later on, he's got a mega tax-deductible ass.
I'll
Tell you that much. Oh, just
God.
wait. Just wait.
Nobody can knock West off of the pedestal that I have him on, but Griff is...
Pretty close. Pretty close.
So, listener, he takes her to that bookstore, except he doesn't know what happened.
Well, okay, but let's make sure listener knows. This is the bookstore where the guy was like, "Oh, you're the Duchess's friend? And I'm the Queen of Sheba, and I'm going to get my broom, and I'm going to chase you out of here if you don't fuck off."
Yeah, because he's an asshole. Well, then... he says that he's taking her there, though, because he can't just leave her with £1,000 for her dream and call it good. He wants to make sure that she succeeds.
Yeah, and this is a conclusion he's come to because of advice she gave him about, like, donating to the youth hostel or whatever. The youth hostel? That's not how that works at all.
No.
That orphanage. Mm-hmm. What is it called in England times?
The
Foundlings Hospital.
The saddest baby hospital is what it really is.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's like, "You were right about that, and I'm going to apply the same logic with you. So instead of just giving you £1,000 and telling you to fuck off."
To be clear, she's not a charity, Griff.
No, but he, it's also very clear that he doesn't think that. You know what I mean?
I know. It just at first,
you're
though,
right.
that's where my brain would go immediately. I'd be like, "Oh, that charity that you run. I'm your next charitable situation." Yeah, what the fuck?
No, you're totally right. Yeah. I'm just being very charitable to Griff.
I mean, that's fair. To be clear, he doesn't deserve it right now.
No,
but
he doesn't.
I support you.
Oh, I'm looking back with rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean? I'm looking back.
You are whimsying so fucking hard. You are whimsying like that's the only exercise that you get.
It's true. Oh my God, look at me frolic. So, okay. So she is like, "Wait, that bookstore? Can we go literally anywhere else?" And he's like, "No, this is the best one. This is where my family has always shopped for Everdom." And she's like, "Okay, but I really want to go somewhere else." And they talk about it for a minute. And then finally she says, "No, you don't understand. I can't go in there. I can't." And he's like, "Who pretty womaned you? Tell me everything that happened right now."
What the fuck, Mel?
I didn't.
I was not prepared for that comment.
Yeah, and so she tells him that this guy treated her like shit, that he was getting off of his shoe. And he's like, he gets this look on his face, and then he's like, don't worry, we're going to take care of this.
And this is the point where I'll be your charitable cause, buddy.
Let me know.
Yeah.
So they go in there, and the guy is like falling over himself now to be like, oh, my lord, hello. Well, what can I get for you? My Duke of Wonderful, what? Tell me everything. And then
the fucking Duke is like, apologize to her, and this dude has the worst apology in the world.
First he says he does not remember her. So many people come in here.
He definitely remembers her. He remembers that rat child that he wanted to scoot out with a broom.
He is sweating fucking bullets right now, trying to claim he doesn't remember her. And then he says, he does that non-apology thing. He says like, oh, I'm so sorry if there was anything that happened that made you feel uncomfortable. And then,
so
what's his nuts? Yeah.
No, finish. I just have a story for you because I witnessed something happen like this as a youth, and it was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
Whoa, I'm so excited. Well, yeah, so Sebastian says, do you accept that? And she says, I suppose. And then he's like, all right, get out your pad and paper and let's do some business. Tell me your story.
So I grew up in Southern California. My mom was in the horse business, and that is a wealthy people's thing in a lot of places, but especially in Southern California. I was with my friend and her mother. They were very wealthy, and we were there with one of our other friends who was on the bigger side, right?
Okay.
We go to their favorite clothing shop.
Oh.
It wasn't Beverly Hills, but it was some other, like fancy
hoity place.
Bourgeoisie fucking whatever. And they didn't carry the friend's size. And they were like, nothing.
They did
all.
Mean Girls on her?
She wasn't even like, this is a normal sized child. We were like 12 years old. Like,
Jesus.
What the actual fuck? And the mom straight up looked up places on her phone where we could go instead. And the shopkeep knew them. And she was like, no, we're not shopping here because this isn't acceptable.
Incredible.
You need to carry larger sizes. And then we left.
Nice.
And it just, when I was reading this scene, I was like, I just love it when, like, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Because, like, they very well could have just continued to shop there. But as far as I know, they never went back.
Wow. That's great. Yeah.
And so when I saw this, Griff doing this.
Because get ready, everybody. He does something even worse to this man, and I love it.
It was so good. He fucking told the shopkeep, he was like throwing down names. He's like, I need this, I need that, I need all of these things bound in red leather with gold embossing on the front, side, and back. They need to be beautiful. Giving him all of this information, and the shopkeep is like, now his heart has grown 7 sizes.
Oh my God, he's got dollar signs in his eyes for days. And he's so excited. He's like scribbling everything down because the list is long and it's like 3 copies of each. And it's a whole business.
Well, he's also a dick about the fact he's like, this is for the young ladies library because he's getting her some trashy novels.
Yeah.
And then he gets the list and he looks it over and he's like, okay, yeah, everything looks good. Thank you so much.
And then he rips the sheet out of the guy's ledger so that he's got his own list. And then he says, and now we're going to take this to your competitor because she might accept your apology, but I don't. And right now, and right before this, as they were like looking through the supplies, they decided on red leather because it's practical and it'll stand out and it'll be like a signature thing. You know, ladies walking around with red leather books, you know it came from her lending library. But as they were doing that, she's like fondling this kid skin leather that's like totally impractical, but like the butteriest, softest, most wonderfulest thing. And, you know, doesn't say anything about it. And then they walk out.
It was beautiful. She also makes a comment in her big old beautiful brain earlier. Pauline's like, this is part of my fairy tale. This shopping trip is part of my fairy tale that I can't have because she has realized that he knew how much it meant to her that she did that in the bookshop or he did that in the bookshop. And she's going to fall in love with him. She acknowledges this.
Absolutely. And like, I loved this because we've already gotten the traditional makeover montage shopping spree. But this is the makeover montage shopping spree that matters to her.
And so
he
beautiful.
knows that. Yeah.
Because the woman who put her through the other shopping spree is now ill in the most fucking hilarious way ever.
Oh, she's ill.
They show up
Hoffles
and
are there.
Lady Awful shows up and she's like, "Oh, where's your man? Your mother is sick in bed." And he's like, "Fuck, we have to go home now instead of going to the other book place."
Well, and just really quick for listeners' sake, Mrs. Awful starts this conversation by being like, "Oh, we stopped by so I could get to know your lady friend a little bit better. I was wondering who her people are because my copy of Debrett's didn't help at all." And she's like, she knows. She knows something. And then...
Well, also, like, I think the funniest thing to me is, like, the Duchess and the Duke also know. They're very aware that they have a barmaid.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. God damn it.
Well, so then they get
rush
home.
And he's beside himself.
Well, yeah, because as much as they piss each other off, they are so close. And then we get there, and she's like,
family they have left.
"Oh no." She's laying in bed. "Oh no.
Oh, my dear boy.
Is that you?"
I can barely see you. Oh.
Oh no. And she's like, I don't think I'll be able to make it to Vauxhall with you tonight. I can't. I just can't. I'm swooning.
And Griff is like, "Oh, the fuck. I was super worried, but as soon as she called me my dear boy, I knew she was making this shit up. She hasn't called me my dear boy once in my life." What? Sabrina, do you have a quote? Do you have a quote?
No, I'm about to have a quote.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say.
He sees a lump in his
There's a lump
bed.
under the blanket.
Under the counterpane.
And guess what, listener? It's the knitting. It's one of the really fucking ugly knitting projects that she can't stop doing because she desperately wants grandchildren.
Oh my God. And so he is like, "What's this?" and goes to do it. And suddenly she goes from on her deathbed to a WWE wrestler.
She's like,
stabs
him. She stabs him. Here is a quote of what
please.
she was hiding. "What are you? Is that a brownie bite?"
It's a brownie muffin because after I did battle post JFK traffic for an hour and a half to get home, instead of going to bed at 1 a.m., I baked brownies.
You know what? I am so glad that you have already gone full feral gremlin. Like,
you know what? It's going to be my Lady Love later. Spoiler alert.
Awesome. All right, so the Duchess threw back the counterpane, revealing a misshapen baby blanket large enough to swaddle a calf. Not even just a bovine calf, but possibly an elephant calf. The yarn had been changed twice, partway through. So 1/3 of it was peach and another third was lavender. Now she was working her way through a ball of pink. Skeins of white, green, and blue lurked ominously nearby. Pauline whistled at it. "This is dire." "I know it, and it's growing worse by the hour. This evening is the chance we've been waiting for. You'll see." Well, because we forgot to say, Griff left the room. He was like, "Well, Mom's being a bitch, so I'm going to go find her a doctor because you're sick, right,
I'm
Mom?
going to get her
You're
one of those
sick.
doctor with the leeches.
I'm not even getting you a nice doctor." But like, how many times have I started a fucking blanket and gone, I don't know that this is big enough. So I tear the whole fucking starting chain or the starting row out, redo it with an added like 20 or 30 stitches. And I'm like, this will be fine. And then all of a sudden, I have a blanket that is 5 feet wide. That's a very wide blanket.
Well, and then you're like, if this is the short side, I have to make sure the long side is correct. And that's how Mama Chen ends up with a crocheted blanket that feels like a weighted blanket because it's so big.
And it's beautiful. I did that. I will send a picture of this. We'll post it on the Instagram. I made a rainbow blanket, my friends.
Ooh.
This thing.
Recently?
This thing is literally, I finished it, well, finished. Who's
ever finished?
Who puts the yarn
nobody.
ends back in the yarn?
Nobody.
Yeah, I finished it and it was supposed to be a lap blanket. This bitch is roughly, I'll put it this way, I am 5'10", and when I stand on my tippy toes and hold this thing up with my arms directly above my head, like it's like I'm doing like that giraffe run. Yeah, it still touches the ground.
This is the way. This is the way.
I have no regrets. It is the giant, coziest, comfiest thing in the whole world. And it'll be even better when one day I actually finish it. But this is what happens. You end up with an elephant calf blanket.
Yeah. And sometimes it ends up being 18 different colors that don't go together.
Because you ran out of yarn.
Oh my God. And Michael's doesn't have any more of the exact shade you need. Like, God damn it. Okay, also, listener, I'm wondering if I've been doing an England Times faux pas for the entirety of podcast. Because in this audiobook, bitch said Vauxhall, and I've always said Vauxhall. And so now I'm wondering if
I've also always said Vauxhall.
Yeah, it threw me off hard, but you know what? She's
you know what? I'll accept this. Because I've never said Hertfordshire because I knew it was Hertfordshire.
Or Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
You gotta just swallow all of it. Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
No, yeah.
Anyway.
So I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently I'm a dummy. Let
oh my God.
Let me know.
It makes sense for it to be Vauxhall though because of the AUX.
I know. When you look at it and use your brain parts, it does make sense. But that's the French, right? And like a marquis is not how you say it in French, even though it's a French word. So like, who knows what the English are doing?
You know what? Fuck the term marquis. I just call them marquies. It's fine.
Marquies.
They're marquies.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway, so the Duchess is like, you're wearing the amethyst necklace tonight because I want him to see you in jewels fit for a duchess. And this is crazy because she says like, I really like you and I need you to drop this because you're going to be heartbroken when he doesn't marry me. He's not going to marry me. I'm not fit to be a duchess. I don't do anything that duchesses have to do. And she looks at her and she says, there is only one requirement for a woman to be a duchess. Do you know what that is? And she says, no. And she says, the woman must marry a duke. And then she's a duchess. Like, that's it.
That's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
This is the historical romance fairy tale of dreams. Okay?
Truly. Because the whole premise is this mom is this duchess, what do you call a duchess? An old
dowager.
One? That's the one. This dowager duchess, almost, I think. I don't think she's a dowager until her son gets married. It doesn't matter. It's England Times bullshit.
Yeah, but he became a duke because his father died. So I think you're right. She's the duchess until he has a new duchess, and then she becomes the dowager.
But this hopeful dowager duchess, the whole premise is she's supposed to be doing a My Fair Lady on Pauline.
She just wants a baby to suffocate.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, we've gotten to the point where first she was like, I'm going to do a My Fair Lady and I am going to polish this shit until it shines like a pearl. And now she likes Pauline's...
Like a pearl?
Like a pearl. I think that's exactly how that phrase goes, colloquially.
Okay.
And that is all I have to say about that.
That must be a New Jersey thing. All right,
no, it
along.
seems totally accurate and a perfect imagery situation.
Okay.
But now she likes Pauline so much that she's like, you are fit to be a duchess. You as you.
Well, and the challenge here is now Pauline's loyalties are divided because she loves the Duchess. She doesn't want to hurt the Duchess, but she also doesn't want to hurt him. And as far as she's concerned, it's going to hurt him if she becomes his Duchess. When really, it's going to hurt him if she doesn't become his Duchess. Because
he has to let her go.
His brain, his heart, and his cock are just so in love with her.
They're all in alignment. They're all on the same page.
His heart has literally moved to the center of his chest.
Yeah.
So that it is just top to
those
bottom
chakras.
in love.
Those mind, heart, and cock chakras are all aligned, okay? It's happened.
Are people going to get mad at us about that?
I don't know.
Oh boy. But yeah, so this is
I think
now
it's the
though
sacral
we have
chakra is the one in the pelvic region. Or maybe that's
I think so, because that's the sacrum.
Yeah, the sacrum is the
Tailbone?
tailbone.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, but your
so.
front sacrum is
Well,
a
maybe
penis?
there's a different. I mean, maybe there's a different one for like the pelvic
Lust?
/ up a little bit more one. God, why can't I
Maybe.
remember it? Doesn't matter.
Anyway,
Sorry, everyone. I'm an
we
idiot.
do have a quick zippy zappy though to Minerva because Minerva knows exactly who Pauline is, and she has realized that Pauline is here and the Duke is doing God knows what. And I need to tell you a quote that
Please.
Minerva says because she says to her hubby Colin, "Yes, that's the one. He's got Pauline Sims, our Pauline from the Bull and Blossom, and he's holding her hostage here in town." She shuddered. God knows what he's done to the poor thing. Probably made her his sordid little love puppet.
Little does she know, Pauline would fucking love if he would do that.
Yeah, exactly. She's a what's it called when you tell them no, not rejected, not shunned,
Scorned? Not really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's scorned,
sexually scorned.
She's a scorned love puppet. Oh my God, Mel.
Tell me everything.
You don't hardly look at the email because I'm in charge of email. We have made multiple requests for fan art of things.
Yeah.
And we had a listener say, "Hey, I've already sent in an embrace.
Yeah.
I'm going to start sending in all of the rest of my embraces now." This was probably Robin. Isn't that who always sends in like 1,800 embraces?
Yeah, it's the best.
Okay. It may not be. I don't remember because I have a Swiss cheese memory. Whomever it is doesn't do fan art, but they did make a bunch of hilarious, beautiful stickers. Like there's Lord Asic. Well, look, I'll have to show them to you later. But like there's like CC memes as stickers. There's just like beautiful things. There's celestial trumpets, things like that.
Oh my God.
Now I'm going to make a request to anybody out there. I'd love a sorted little love puppet.
A
sticker.
scorned love puppet.
With sorted crossed out.
Yeah.
And scorned like scratched in and chicken scratch above it. So
Oh my God.
even though that's something that we could definitely probably make happen.
will the
I just
puppet-
love
Will the puppet look like Lamb Chop?
Mel, have I told you that? So you remember how I'd never heard of Lamb Chop before?
Yeah, and then all the millennials rose up
Yeah, well,
to make sure you knew.
No, not even all of those people. It has been mentioned to me out of context at least once a week since that happened. Somebody made a joke about it when we were playing Jackbox at my fucking birthday party. What the fuck? Where did this come from? Have I just been not listening up until it was made a big
in your
deal?
brain. Yeah.
Now it's doing nothing but pinging. I feel like Lamb Chop takes up more room in my head than West Ravenel, and that's saying a lot.
Wow. Wow.
But I don't want Lamb Chop to be the Duke of my love. I want West.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway.
We'll have to do something to remedy that. Anyway, so she's like, Colin, we have to go make sure that Pauline is okay. And Colin's like, I mean, I guess, are you sure you were wearing your spectacles, though? She's like, yes!
Well, then he says some stuff. Well, so firstly, he is like, well, I'm going to buy you some books because it makes you happy and also because it makes you creative in bed, which like Mood, buy your partner romance novels. But it was fucking beautiful because he's like, he says something and he's like, darling, Min, are you truly that concerned because she's crying? And she says, no. Oh, Colin, I'm just so proud. You're using the scientific method.
It's so cute.
Because, like, to be clear, this is definitely a beauty and the brawn situation with Minerva and Colin.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
then we have skadoodled along. We have zippy-zapped back.
It's time for
and
Vohal.
Griff. Oh, my God. Griff is...
Voxel.
Boy.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, it's fine. Both. Voxel. Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, Voxel.
Voxel. Fucking hate that.
I know.
That's it now, though.
sacrilege.
Voxel. Yep. It's Voxel. It's Voxel.
Ooh,
But like, so he's realizing
I just
he
found
literally
a brownie crumb on my lap. It was between my legs, but it tastes exactly the
Well,
same.
now you have a snack. You're probably going to find more. That's what boobs do. Like if I'm wearing anything remotely low cut, well, wear something super low cut and you'll probably find things in your bra later too. I found a whole ass French fry one time. I took off my fucking clothes and my bra at the end of the day and just like French fries. No. I was like, well, didn't even notice they were there. Didn't even notice they were there because guess what? It's big titties are sweaty titties.
That's
and
right.
I just those French fries just softened right up. It was horrifying.
I mean, little titties are sweaty titties, so
yeah, and so they just softened up. I had no idea it was in there, and then I just took off the bra, and they were like, "Hey, friend," and I was like, "I'm not eating that. I'm not eating that.
That is not a snack for later, contrary to popular belief.
It is not something that I will be taking. But guess what? Griff can't stop thinking about her, and his heart is still saying, "Her, I'll take her." He can't even focus at work.
He can't do anything. He can't function.
It was actually really beautiful the way that like he described it. So you know that like thing that people talk where it's like you put the golf balls in and then you put the marbles in and then you put the pebbles and things like that. He basically says that like all week his meetings with the people he needs to be meeting with, they're like cannonballs in a crate. And thoughts of Pauline, like million grains of sand are taking it up, or grains of crystals of sugar might be more appropriate to say because she's sparkly and sugary from the first time that he met her.
It is.
It's so cute. But anyway, so they have to use a boat to get to Vauxhall.
Yeah, they do. And she's never been on a boat.
Sorry. I can just imagine the people listening right now just
so sorry,
screaming.
Redcoats.
I'm not.
I'm so sorry.
That makes it worse, Mel.
No, I say it with the most love. It's all the love.
I think it's even worse that
British
you I feel like it's even worse that you live someplace that wasn't that like one of the first colonies or like one of the original 13?
Revolutionary War Central.
So this is really just passed down. It's just, it makes sense.
Hamilton hung out around here. I'm telling you.
Hamilton.
He did.
I'll bet he did. You have so much history up there. Meanwhile, I did not have that in California.
No.
I mean, I did, but it wasn't.
But it's like later.
It wasn't like American Revolution history.
No, it's like anti-Chinese history.
It's fine.
You know?
Yeah, it's awful. It's also, there's also some really pretty missions. You know? Yeah. Spanish missions.
When we took over from all those people who were indigenous. Yeah. No, I hear that.
It's fine. It's fine. We have a very beautiful history in the U.S. of terrible crimes against humanity.
Yeah, we hate the indigenous people who are there, and then we hate the immigrants who look different from us, who want to like mine for gold or whatever, build a railroad. Yeah. I don't know.
Fuck them for coming and trying to find their fortune.
Yeah.
So they have to use a boat to get to Vauxhall, and the ferryman. Okay, I have a question for you, Mel.
Okay.
Is this ferryman the worst fucking ferryman in the world? Because the lady was not even in the boat yet, and he was like shoving off.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to keep anything steady. But I appreciate him and his incompetence because it does require a big ol' snuggle for them to stay up on that boat.
The snuggle! Oh, he's just holding her to his chest.
Yeah. It's so good.
But yeah.
So they get to Vauxhall, and he is like, he sort of like has to fall in with his posse.
How dare you be the person to coin Vauxhall and then say it correctly?
Vauxhall. I don't know if it's correct. I'm still confused. The internet didn't even help me.
It's fine. It's fine.
So anyway,
it's fine. Everything's fine.
So he's like, I knew a lot of guys for a while, but like a lot of those guys decided to be responsible and get married and stuff. And so now I'm just sort of like, King Degenerate. And now I have to hang out with my posse of degenerates. So it's Declan.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I was thinking of a different book. Delacour or something, whatever.
Yeah. And
Del asshole is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple of other guys, and then they're mistresses, right? All of them are mistresses?
I think so. Well, and so he to be clear, we've stated this. He has already decided he can't marry her, but he's going to essentially make sure she wants for nothing for the rest of her life. She's already been like, I don't want to be your fucking mistress. And he's like, well, then don't be my mistress. I'm just going to pay for the rest of your life. And honestly, I would not say no to that.
Hey, are you
just a billionaire? And
you
don't even have to be a billionaire.
No.
If you're a griff and you want to just take care of me and Mel for the rest of our lives,
listen,
we're not going to say no to that.
Patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms podcast, or
do you know how fast I'd be in that RV?
Yes.
Do you know how fucking fast I'd be in that RV? I would leave my house right now. I'd be like, all right, we can't finish recording.
I know. You would be in an RV. We would have a full-time editor. Oh, who knows?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Listen, if you're a griff out there and you're looking for some really entertaining charitable causes.
Are we a charity now? I think that the government's going to have an issue. Actually, the IRS is going to be real pissed when all that money shows up in that Patreon.
Oh, God, no. We're not we're not governmentally a charitable cause. We're just like in people's hearts. We could be a charitable cause.
Well, so then Delacour he asks to dance with Pauline. And he starts to tell her some stuff about how he and Griff have decided to save each other from marriage. And they made that decision
when they were 19.
15 years ago. What a fucking ding dong.
And just tearing up those brothels,
Of course you don't want to get fucking married when you'd rather be spending literally every spare second at, whoa.
Spare second.
88. Since quitting my ADHD meds, Mel.
Yeah.
The ADHD is so strong. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
But anyway, she tells him basically, you don't need to worry about that. And Delacour says
he's not going to marry me and I'm not going to marry him.
Well, and then Delacour says that, Griff's about to disprove that idea.
She's like, what? What are you talking about?
And then he comes up and he's like, that'll be enough.
He's motoring across that dance floor. And he's like,
take
I'm
it
cutting
from
it
here.
now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, she had this plan to accidentally, on purpose, push Delacour into the punch so that she could be a laughingstock and do her job.
She's ready to be the biggest goddamn catastrophe that Vauxhall has ever seen.
That's the one. And so she's like, wait, you're getting in the way of our master plan. And he's like, you looked upset. You had a look on your face that seemed upset. What did he do to you?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe he noticed. So they dance around and then he decides to take her for a walk.
Well, before that, he was like, Delacour upset you.
Yeah.
I can kill him.
Well, let me kill him. Tell me why. I'll do it.
Tell me why he fucking hurt you. Tell me how he hurt you.
Yeah.
I will murder him and I'll make it. I'm a duke.
Yeah, and she's like, he's one of your closest friends from childhood. And he's like, and I'll kill that fucker. You just say the word.
Well, and then she starts having another mental landslide with her sister, which I really fucking love that description, mental landslide.
Yeah.
That's such a good one. I've used that since rereading this book. But they go for a walk and she tells him about how marvelously he acted with Daniela. And then she's like, why are you so gloomy? And he says, don't try to fix me. And then now they're making out against a tree.
That's right. And he's picking up those skirts.
Oh, she's about to get a fucking traditional Vauxhall finger banging.
No, there's also a titty out. The titty's out in Vauxhall.
Yeah. Which, to be clear, from what I know about Vauxhall,
it happens all the time.
Shocking.
Yeah.
This is you want to talk about a den of inequity? It's Vauxhall.
Among those copses of trees. So then he says, how does this happen? He says something like, I don't want someone.
I want you. And
no, he doesn't say that. No.
Oh, yeah. No, he says, I don't want someone. And she tells him that everyone needs someone. And then he's a real dick about it and makes a shitty comment about, well, hard to find somebody when you're choosing a wife from a crowd of lackluster girls. And he says,
I don't want to be in another situation where I'm asked to choose in a crowd of lackluster girls. And then she says,
I'd be so mad.
oh my God, obviously. And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. That's the worst situation anybody could ever be in. I'm so sorry. How about I just fuck off? Because that's fucked.
Oh, and
so she leaves and he's trying to be like, Pauline, you didn't let me finish. Hold on, Pauline. And she gets bumped into by a hooligan of some sort. And then realizes that they ripped off the amethyst necklace and they're booking it like, into the mist.
Boy, and you want to talk about being a catastrophe. She is chasing this man down and she's hollering curses. She's like, get back. And she's slipping back into her accent from when she was a barmaid.
Yeah.
She's like, basically like, get back here, you fucking toadstool, you thief in the night, you bastard, you rat bastard, get the fuck back here. And like, everyone's just watching. And Griff is running along behind her, apologizing. He's like, sorry. She's not talking to you. This is not you. It's fine. And she ends up getting stopped by twisting her ankle. And she's like, keep going. Get him. And he's like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Well, he gets to her.
Tunes.
She's crumpled on the ground. And she had like gone around a corner and he couldn't see her. And so all he heard was this blood-curdling scream. And like all of his sphincters clenched and his heart left his body. And he was just like, oh my God, if something happened to her, I won't survive it. So he comes around the corner, sees her crumpled on the ground. And she's like, what are you doing? Yeah. And so she's like, what are you doing? Go after him. Go get him. And he's like, no, absolutely not. What are you talking about? Are you okay? He's checking her over for wounds. And she's like, I just twisted my ankle. Like, it's so dumb. And you're going to hate me forever. And like, she's crying. And she's like, he took the necklace. Ow. And like, I'm going to figure out a way to pay you back. I have literally no idea. Because it's like a 12,000 pound necklace in England times money. And he's like,
yeah,
don't.
I'll be honest. Usually I Google that conversion. I didn't want to know. It caused me too much anxiety at the thought of losing it. Are you looking it up right this fucking second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's 10,000 pounds, by the way. And I guess this takes place in the early 1800s. We don't need to make this any worse than it already is, Mel. Okay. Oh God.
18. What is it? 50s, 13s.
I think it's like,
where are we?
1820s ish. I don't know. It's England times. Just Google that. England times conversion.
Historians are assholes and they won't acknowledge our very impressive term.
We're scientists, Mel. But
I know.
Guess what? This year we're Sherlock Holmeses, which is why you're Googling, even though I hard whimsied because I knew that this was going to be a mind-boggling amount of money. Considering she would be able to live luxuriously on 1,000 pounds for the rest of her life with a little bit of income from the lending library means that this is millions of dollars, isn't it?
Oh
No. What is it? What'd you put in? 10,000?
Oh my God.
Or did you do 12?
10,000 pounds. Nope, I did 10,000 pounds from 1820 to 2024.
Before you tell me, I have goosebumps right now at the horror that I'm about to be under.
You have no idea.
Tell me!
And it's going to get even worse because now I'm putting the pounds into American.
No! Tell me!
Okay, in now pounds, it's $1,211,000. 227 and 58 cents. Holy balls. Is that even possible?
Okay, hey, are there necklaces out there? Wait, you keep that up because now I want to know what 1,000 pounds is in nowadays times. I'm going to look up.
Wait, 1,000 pounds is in nowadays times? It's just that divided by 10.
Yeah, but I'm too lazy to do the math. So it's like, what, $120,000?
Mm-hmm. Are there $1 million necklaces?
I'm Googling $1.25 million necklace.
No.
Well, the first thing that comes up is man steals semi hauling $1.25 million worth of new Corvettes.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm not seeing.
What?
Okay, just found an article on Yahoo Entertainment about a $55 million necklace that set a world record 10 years ago. To be fair, it's pretty, but also to be fair, that's not $55 million pretty.
Okay. All right.
I'll send you the link. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. That was... I don't like that. Wow. I have goosebumps on my body.
It's $1 million necklace. How?
That sounds like a crown jewel. Like, how much are the crown jewels worth? Like, what the fuck?
Jesus.
I feel like
Jesus.
I should know how much it's worth. I literally got to see them while I was in England because the coronation had just happened. But like, anyway.
I am not okay.
I'm not okay either. So let's get back. Yeah. Oh my God. If I lost that necklace, I would just drown myself in the Thames. I'd be like, you can just drop me off. You can just drop me off the edge of a boat somewhere. Thanks. Bye.
Oh my God. So, wowza. I'm shaken to the core. And I don't know how to
guess
finish
what?
this recap.
It's gonna get better from here because he carries her home and he's mad, clearly. He calls a doctor and all of these things. Well, and she starts apologizing and he says that he's mad, but he's like, I'm trying not to direct my madness at you because I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at this situation. You want some
Please
quotes
read the quote.
Before
I do.
Actually, I have a couple of quotes in a row. I'm just going to cruise through them because it leads to chef's kiss.
A big romance.
I'm angry, Pauline. I have immense rage for that brigand who dared to touch you. I'm furious that you've been hurt, and I'm angry with you. Yes, for chasing after him, putting yourself at such risk. Do you know what kind of people lurk on those paths and hallways? You believe I'd value a strand of jewels above your life? I know we've had our differences, Sims, but that's low. Oh. You truly think so little of me? I think a great deal of you.
Yeah.
I happen to think a great deal of you too. Kind words, but he spoke them so viciously. Jewels can be replaced. So can serving girls. Don't play that game. His brow pressed to hers. When I heard you cry out, it was like a saber to the gut. I wanted to die. I could have found you broken or bleeding or worse. Don't tell me I care about polished rocks on a chain. I want to believe you know me better than that. I do. And yet you believe I'd be so upset about a necklace that I'd send you away? You just said that you didn't want me at all. I said no such thing. You ran off before I could finish. I said I didn't need someone because you're not just someone to me. You're remarkable and stubborn and lovely and too damn brave for your own good. His hand fisted in the fabric of her gown. You. I want you. From the moment I stumbled through that tavern door, I wanted you. She pulled a hand to her mouth, stifling her emotion. Don't. He pulled her hand from her mouth. Don't hide. Don't ever run with me again. He kissed her hungrily, desperately. If I asked you to stay with me, I couldn't. Stunned, she went still in his arms. You know I couldn't. I must go home to Daniela. I promised her, and you gave us your word. If I offered you a home, a house in the country with everything you and your sister could ever need, I couldn't be a kept mistress. Not even yours. I'd lose respect for myself and for you. And he says, I can't marry you. And she says, I know. There's no way this can last beyond week's end. And he says, well, know this. I am damned well going to make love to you tonight. Melody! It's on TM!
Thank you for reading all of that.
I couldn't. I kept highlighting and I was like, There's no
know.
good place to stop. And like I skipped a lot in those highlights. That's technically 5 separate highlights. Listener, read the book. If you've not read Tessa Dare, you need to go read the book immediately. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
So it's on TM.
It's so on.
And they do some sex.
Oh.
That, like,
well, he's going gently too. And she's like, she begs him to fuck her like he wants to, hard and with passion. And he goes feral.
He goes for it. He goes for it.
Oh my God. Wow.
Because she says, I want you. I want you. Whatever that means. That's the way I want. Oh.
And then at the end, she cries because this is going to end at the week. And everything about him is perfect to her. And then he just holds her and lets her feel her feelings. And then she asks if he's hurt because of the wound that he got, the saber wound from last episode. And he confesses that he's in desperate pain, but it's not on the outside. It's deep inside.
It's on the inside. And because she's been saying up until this point, I know that something is hurting you. I know that you're in pain somehow. And you don't have to talk to me, but I would love it if you would tell someone.
Yeah.
And so now he's saying, like, no, it's not anything physical. It's something inside. And then she says, do you think I could kiss it better? And he says, I don't think it'll work, but I do vow to lay very still and let you try.
Same, buddy. Same. We can give it a shot. It's fine.
Yeah,
we can give it a shot. Also, I just realized how ironic it is that what mug you're drinking out of, considering that's the last thing you have to do today, is work to keep the tiny humans alive.
Any tiny humans alive.
You just have to keep you alive, and you're not a tiny human.
No, I am a full-sized, bountiful human.
Bountiful.
What I am.
I like that. Same.
Okay, listen, I had a bit of a body positivity crisis the other day because another thing I'm doing while the kids are in Taiwan, and it just lined up, is a friend of mine and I are going to go to a traditional Korean spa for her birthday. And it's super well known in the area. But because it is, traditional Korean, nudity is required. And
required?
Required. You are not allowed to bring a bathing suit, period, the end. So I had a bit of a body positivity crisis. And I was like, I can do this. We can do this. We can totally do this. And as I was like, you know what? I just have to air it out. I just have to get it out into the world, shed some light on it. And so I texted my friend and I was like, hey, this is going on with me. And, we chatted a bit. And then finally I was like, you know what? I think it's going to be liberating. And I think I texted something like, so let's go. And let's just wave around our capable, beautiful, bountiful bodies. She was like, yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
I can't wait to hear about this.
So I'll report back about how it goes. Because I feel like a big old hypocrite.
Yeah. No, okay. I feel that way too sometimes. Like when I'm telling somebody like, oh my God, if I'm like giving them a like talking to about like mental health or like body positivity or loving yourself, things like that. Like I'm pretty good at that most of the time, a little bit of the time.
Sometimes.
And then I'm giving somebody that talk and they're like, oh, is that how you do it? And I'm like,
are you asking me to walk the walk instead of just talking the talk? How dare you?
How could you? Speaking of walking the walk and not talking the talk, or talking the talk but not walkie-talkie
either way,
bullshit.
Frankly. Yeah.
Griff is walkie-talkieing because he is, so they fuck it out again and it's amazing.
Boy.
He takes care of it. It's so hot. And then he is like, but this can't last again. And then Griff, he makes some dumb fucking statement. I don't remember exactly what it is about servants. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
She says, I have to go back to my room. And he's like, no, stay a little bit longer. And she's like, but the servants are going to be up soon and they're going to be like lighting the fires or whatever. And he says, they're servants. Why in the world would we care what they think? And then she like stiffens a bit beside him and he goes, oh, please. Can we just rewind or can you just try very hard to not hear what I just said?
Like, can we just forget about the whole thing? Well, and so then
she
she's
says,
not
I
discovered.
don't want to quarrel. No, but this is important because she says, I don't want to quarrel. I don't want to waste what we have left. And he says, what do we have left? And she says, a week, Griff.
No. Well, and then she does get up and leave. And so she's not discovered.
And she says,
she walks.
Well, she asks him permission. She's like, can I go through your joined rooms? And he's like, yeah, I'll walk you back. And she says, no, you rest. It's fine. I can figure out my way back. But then about 35 seconds later, he's like, oh no, like, wait. But it's too late.
It's too late because she's in the locked room. And I'm going to trigger warning this for child death. If you don't want to hear about this,
infant death.
Infant death. Go ahead and skip forward probably a minute or two. We'll keep it short. Turns out, we find out that room has a ton of pictures of unicorns and rainbows and ponies.
It's an England Times Lisa Frank room.
And
that's
because
what it is.
he had a mistress and found out that he was taken care of, and she was pregnant, so he disappeared to go take care of her.
Well, so he was pissed when he found out because he didn't want children. She didn't want children. They were both very careful. And so he's like, how the fuck did this happen? She was an opera singer. And so he's like, but I did my duty and I put her into a country cottage and I told her that I would take care of her and the child for the rest of their lives. And then Pauline goes, it's the done thing.
Yeah. And then he does, in fact, do that. And then his daughter is born. And
wait. I'm so sorry. This was so relatable to me. I'm so sorry.
No, go for it.
Because he says, I put them up in the cottage and I went out there and it was going to be the last time I saw her. I was just going there to be like, give her some final assurances about my financial support for the rest of her life or whatever. But then, just as he was leaving, she grabbed his hand and he was like, oh, this is weird because like we don't hold hands. But she grabbed his hand and she put it on her stomach and he felt like just this wallop of a kick right into his hand.
For the first time in my life, I was falling in love, she finished in her mind, because he wouldn't say it aloud, but the truth was plain. He'd fallen headlong, irretrievably in love with his own child and in love with the idea of fatherhood. The loopy joy of it was written all over his face and frolicking all over the walls of this room. So that was really sad.
So then he starts going out there over and over and over, and he's like really interested in the pregnancy and he's excited about the baby. And then the mistress says that she wants to go back to her home country, Austria or something like that. But she doesn't think that her family will accept her with an illegitimate child.
Which, like, probably for good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's like, will you find a local family to adopt the baby and then I'm going to fuck off? And he says no. And Pauline's like, what? Like, that's not, what? What does that mean? And he says, I decided that I was going to raise my child in my house. And that's when I started constructing this room. So he has this whole plan and he's like, I was going to give her my name and I was going to raise her. And I had all these plans. I had like years of birthday parties planned in my mind and outings and cultural enrichment and all the things. And he says that normally nurseries would be up in the dormer rooms, but he didn't feel comfortable having the baby that far away. And that's why that she's part of like the master suite set of rooms. So the baby is born. It is a girl. He was hoping for a girl because that would make
he could make her legitimate without it being an issue because he wouldn't be passing along the line of Duke.
Right.
Yeah.
And they named her, which he doesn't say this, but like he named her, they were together and she lived all of a week, but then she caught a fever and died.
Well, and it turns out that we kind of heard about this from the Duchess, that in their family line, there's a history of only really being able to have one child. Like, even if you try, because the Duchess had like 3 or 4 miscarriages, I think. And she had miscarriages, but then she had 3 infants that died in infancy. Yeah.
So like,
and it turns out that's why Griff is so against marriage and children, is because of this history, and he refuses to go through this again. Like, he is, I never want to ever even have the possibility of
it fucking
losing my child again. Yeah. So she tries to get him to open up a bit more, and he's like, no, I'm done. So you should probably go before the servants lay the fires.
And this is why he didn't open up his estate of ill repute over the winter. This is why he didn't do, all of the things that he normally does, and none of his friends know, and his mom doesn't know, and the mistress is back in Austria. And so, like, he's been doing all of this grieving completely alone. Yeah. So she goes back to bed.
And next morning, the Duchess is ready and prepared for the prince's party. And she is now officially determined, no more catastrophes. We're going to make you the talk of the town in the best kind of way. And then my son has to get married. And then that ugly thing that I'm knitting will be for my beloved grandchild. That's when Griff walks in and asks what the hell she's doing, what the hell is in her hands. And she blames it on Pauline, says it's horrible handiwork, and throws it in the fire. And then Pauline is practicing her H's and calls her a hypocrite. So then Griff tells his mom about how the amethysts were not stolen. They just have a broken clasp. They're at the mirror. And then fucking Pauline says, hogwash. She muttered. Griff snapped his fingers at her. Verse. Because, to be clear, she's practicing all of these words by reading all of the H words out of the Bible. So she's like, holy.
The family
heaven.
Bible.
Happy. Like, all of these things. Hell. And Griff snaps his fingers at her. Verse. Chapter and verse. I should like to know where precisely in St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians he uses the word hogwash. And then Pauline lies and says that it was written in the margins, which means they brought every single servant in to see who wrote in the family Bible. And then it all blows up. It all falls apart because she realizes one of these servants is about to get fucked because of her lie.
And so she's like, it was me. I made it up. And wow, I feel so much better now that I've gotten this lie out of my system. Is there anyone else? She's looking at him.
Before that, she starts to confess. So she's like, and you know what? It's time for confession times because Griff's lying to you about something.
That's right.
And Griff's like, it's very clear that he thinks she's about to talk about the child. And instead she says, the amethysts were stolen. They're gone. Because she realized he would never, ever forgive her if she had said something. But this does, as you stated, lead to confession times with the servants.
Well, and she says, is there anyone else looking directly at him and looking directly at the Duchess. Is there anyone else who might want to unburden themselves? She wants him to tell his mom about the baby, and she wants the mom to tell him about her secret knitting and her, heart's desire for grandchildren.
Yes.
And like tell each other how much they love each other and stuff. And instead, please, Sabrina, tell them what happened.
So I don't have quotes, but I do have a whole paragraph talking about what happened.
Yeah.
This leads to confession times with the servants, which makes it known that one of the footmen is fondling multiple of the maids, and now they're all mad at him. And then the footman tells everyone that the butler wears a corset, and then the doorbell rings, and nobody even moves because they're in the middle of confession times. And Griff says, "Here's a thought. Why don't I answer that?"
No, wait.
And
the
most important
confession
is the French lady's maid. I can't think of her name. She confesses that she's not French and that she just doesn't speak a whole lot, so that she seems mysterious and you can't hear her accent.
Well, she has a terrible accent and she also has a stutter. And so she was like, I didn't think anybody would employ me with my awful speech. And so instead I just decided to play French and pretend that I'm just like a haughty lady's maid so that people would think I was fancy. And she's like, my real name is Flora. And then she runs out. She's like, I'll get all my things and I'll leave immediately.
I'll leave. I'm gone.
And the Duchess runs after her.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it's time to go open the door. They do get to the door to open that door. And guess what? It's Minerva and Colin come to save Pauline. And Minerva calls Griff a revolting trilobite to his face.
Wait, isn't it troglodyte?
It's trilobite. I have it highlighted right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And now Griff is watching her like, what the fuck does Colin see in this woman? Like,
yeah.
Trilobite? Really?
Fucking busybody.
Well, and then it turns out that, and I had forgotten about this, but Minerva was disguised at the Den of Iniquity during a week to be wicked. And he's basically like, you're going to talk to me about being a liar and like pretending that you aren't somebody who you are, when, as I remember, you'd run away from the family with a scandalous rake, and I might add, lied to my face about your identity. I seem to remember Payne introducing you as Melisande, some sort of long-lost Alpine princess and cold-blooded assassin who spoke not a word of English. I mean, really, an Alpine princess assassin, and you will call me depraved? And then she sat tall and indignant. You made inappropriate overtures to me, and you suggested Colin wager my favors in a game of cards. What can you say to that? He spread his hands. Alpine, princess, assassin. It's just
God,
beautiful.
it's the best.
I love Minerva.
Anyway, by the end of this, they're like, Pauline, you can come with us anytime. If you're in any kind of situation, come with us right now and we will make sure you stay safe. And so he's like, yeah, Pauline, great. If you want to go with them, go with them. And there's like a big pause. And in his inner monologue, he's thinking, oh my God, is she actually considering leaving? And then she says, no, my lady, it's fine. I'm going to stay here. I'm not being mistreated at all, blah, 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 blah. And then they leave. And then afterwards, he looks at her and he's like, what was that? What was all this, my lady, my lord, and like, eyes at the ground and being all submissive and stuff? Like, where's the Pauline I know? And she was like, well, I couldn't really tell them exactly what was going on without a lot of explanation. And also, like, it would do us well to remember who the fuck we are, because there are 33 ranks of precedence or something between a duke and a serving girl. And the rest of the world is going to remind us of that at any and every moment.
Every single time that we're seen together. Or either of us are seen.
And he says, I never forget who you are. And who I am.
Guess what, friends? We get some England times role play sex. What?
We get some demonstrative role play.
Oh boy. So he tells her that she's right. They should remember their places. And then he tells her to clear the desk after locking the door. And so she carefully moves the inkwell and then pushes everything else onto the floor like a cat. Just ping, ping, ping. Goodbye. So he gets her up on the desk and like pulls her feet onto his thighs and is like slowly pushing her dress up. And then he goes down on her. And it was incredible.
And it's never happened to her before.
Well, of course it fucking hasn't, because every person that she's ever dicked it down with has been only giving a shit about their own pleasure.
Yeah. And I loved this because she's like, oh, nobody's ever. And then he says something to the effect of, if you're trying to dissuade me, that's not the way. And then like gets in there. Oh, do you have the quote?
Griff, wait. No one's. She licked her lips nervous. Oh, no, you literally said the quote word for word.
I did it?
Yeah. Well, so if you hope to dissuade me, that was the wrong thing to say. That's exactly what just came out of your mouth. I'm impressed. I do have another quote, though, that comes after that. Because when she comes, gives her his hand to bite down on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. And then after that, he says to her, did you enjoy that? Yes, she managed. There were no words, save that one. Yes, yes, yes. Do you believe that I worship every inch of this lithe, detectable body? Do you understand that I would take a saber to the kidneys before letting you come to harm? She nodded, breathless. Good. Because now I'm going to teach you a lesson.
And he bends her over that
Sir.
desk. He tells her to hang on.
And then he tells her, manners. Remember whom you are addressing, and gives her a smack on the rump. And she says, please, your grace. And then she says, tup your humble servant, I beg of you. And he says, that's better. What the hell? And then she says, harder if it would please your grace. And he says, oh, it pleases me. And then he just sloops her up by the hips.
Oh, yeah.
And just pounds her into oblivion. Griff.
He's literally holding her feet off the ground by her hips.
Yes. And then while he's doing this, he tells her.
Yes.
He says, I'm the Duke of Halford, he said, plunging deep. She shut her eyes, trying not to cry. It was all too much. The emotion, the pleasure, the hopelessness. I'm the Marquess of Westmore. Thrust. I'm also the Earl of Ridingham. Thrust. Viscount Newthorpe. Lord Hertford-on-Trent. Thrust, thrust, thrust. And I am your slave, Pauline. I had to sit back. I have full body chills right now.
Yes. And it goes even further than that.
Can this be a fucking TV show or a movie?
Why isn't
this book?
Like this? I'm so sorry, everyone. Bridgerton is great. But like if I had my druthers, Netflix would have.
It would have been
done
it would have been a Tessa Dare, probably this series. It would have been
a Tessa Dare or a Beverly Jenkins.
It could have been a Beverly Jenkins. It could have been a Lisa Kleypas.
Sure. Yeah.
I want West Ravenel falling apart and putting himself back together in front of my eyeballs.
Yeah. But that pirate historical from Beverly Jenkins, like I
haven't read that. It's fine. And like I haven't read any of the Bridgerton books. I've heard that to enjoy the TV show as much as I do, I should just continue that. And that's okay. Yep. I'm okay with that. But also like I'm your slave. I'm your slave, Pauline. Thrust, thrust, thrust. Oh my God.
And there's more than that. Doesn't it go on? He's like, I'm your slave. And then it's like, I never forget who you are.
His voice was edged with need. Do you hear me? Do you believe it now? There could be 1,000 ranks between us, and I would not give one damn. Every blue-blooded vein in this body pounds with desire for you. I feel like jaunting over to Piccadilly to wait for someone in passing to ask me, how do you do? Simply so I could reply, just had the best sexual encounter of my life. Thanks for asking.
Every blue-blooded vein in this body pounds for you.
Pounds for you.
How dare everyone?
Sir. Abso-fucking-lutely not, okay?
Tessa dare.
Madam.
Like, now I understand her pen name because she dares.
Dares. She dares.
God damn it.
Oh, dude, I don't think you can see it, but like every hair in my body is standing on end right now.
I know.
Yeah, and it's just so hot. And then we find out the super cute thing that he successfully fixed the clock and he's going to donate it to the Sad Children Hospital. And
yeah,
it's just super, I'm sorry, hostel. I really like that. The Sad Children Hostel.
Jesus.
But then they
end up going, she's like, you can probably do one better. And they decide to do a Shirley Temple, my dad is not dead in the war movie on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they bring all the... I hope anybody knows what I'm talking about.
Also, they bring... I don't, but I'm just going to nod along and smile because I get the gist of what you're saying. But so they go give out sweet treats and things like that, and then he goes to find her because she's disappeared. And she's in the... Yeah, got to get that scurvy out, man.
Yeah.
But,
and they make that little hat-wearing gremlin that we met earlier... The one that gives everything out, and he takes it so seriously. He makes sure everybody is
an even amount,
it's fair, and that kid is such a joy. I
want his book as an adult, right? Like I want him. He's precious, and I think he would be an absolute, just the cutest, most sincere. I just want him to show back up. He's just a cute kid.
The Little Princess in 1939, everyone. I'm so sorry.
You found it.
It's The Little Princess. It's a Shirley Temple movie. And one of the big plot points is like there's a whole cache of treasure or something. And that's basically all I remember other than her dad's not dead.
Oh, good for her. 0 dead dads.
They give out a bunch of treasure right now.
Okay. Well... While they're giving out their treasures, though, he's watching her with a bunch of kids, and he's enamored and sad he'll never had that. And then he thinks to himself, I need her not to leave. He'd probably blurt out a stream of desperate raving. Don't leave me. I love you. I can't go on without you. He'd send the children screaming. They'd have nightmares for weeks. So he just stood there silently reeling on the edge of lifelong desolation. But then a baby cries. And... it's time for Griff to get the fuck out of there because this boy has some serious PTSD around sad crying babies, understandably. And so when he runs out,
but she follows him because he's about to take a night-long walkabout again. And she's like, no, I'm not leaving you. Get into this, hackney cab or whatever with me. And she sort of just picks a destination. And he finally just like breaks down into noisy sobs with his head in her lap. And he tells her all about Mary and the week he spent with his baby and just the way, like all of his grief and this giant burden that he's been carrying around. He just pours it all into her. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And while they're in there, they're also talking a lot to each other about how did this even happen? Like, they're basically acknowledging that they've fallen in love. And they're like, how did we get here? We weren't supposed to do this. This wasn't supposed to be what happened. And, well, guess what? It did. It's just beautiful. But
and they
then
both know there's nothing for it.
Yeah, they both know it's nothing for it. So instead they say, guess what? We're going home. And she's like, why? And he's like, because it's not comfy to fuck in a carriage. Get along,
We're
little
gonna
doggy.
make the most of it. Let's go.
Let's go. And then they do go have a lot of sex, and it's wonderful. And
then
the next
it's
morning.
the next morning.
And they wake up in bed, and she lies to him about telling him to go lock the door because she's not actually worried about locking the door. She just wanted to see him walk around naked because she's a woman after my own heart.
and
it was beautiful.
So pleased about this. It's adorable.
Oh, yeah. He's like cock of the walk
around.
puffs up, and he's like, yes, you like this? He's starting to get hard, and he's like, yeah, girl. Yeah, you like this?
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful. But then they are about to come again.
She's on top of him. Importantly to me, Melody.
Yes.
She's on top of him. And then all of a sudden, crash, bang, the door flies open.
Mm-hmm.
And Delacour is there.
Yeah.
And he's like, stop everything. Don't you. Oh, and oh my God. And as they're about to come, he's like, let me come inside you. Will you please let me come inside you? Don't make me pull out. And she's like, yes, do it. Because they're both like, consequences be damned.
Yeah. Well, so Griff is unhappy about this. And I do have to read you this quote scene because it's hilarious. Because Delacour is basically saying, we know who she is. She's a barmaid. They figured, like, Lady Awful figured it all out, blah, blah, blah.
And he told all the scandal sheets.
At least no one can expect you to marry the girl. The gossip will deem her just another of your debauched larks. Toss her a bit of money and send her off. But I hope you've been careful not to get a brat on her. She probably hid it from you. But there's imbecility in the bloodline. Griff paused in the act of fastening a button on his breeches falls. He looked up at Delacour for a brief moment. Del, it will take me about 10 seconds to button these. That's how much time you have to run. I'm not going anywhere until I'm certain that this run. He finished his last closure, swung his arms at his sides, shaking his fingers loose. I mean it, Del. You had better flee because I fully intend to kill you.
Yeah.
Love a protector. Love a protector.
He's
what
like,
a good
you will not
protect.
talk about her or her family like that. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
It's just
And
beautiful.
so they go careening around the goddamn townhouse, and Griff is fixing to murder his oldest friend.
Absolutely. He literally says, I died for her, and I'd kill for her. The rest doesn't concern you right now.
And he says that in response to Del being like, well, you wouldn't marry her.
You can't believe yourself in love with her. And he's like, I'm going to stab you so deep in the throat that your children's children feel it. Okay?
Oh my God. Also, listener, this was so hot. They end up in like a salon where they normally play fight, and they get actual swords. Everybody's armed. And he says, Del, I have something to tell you. You know all those times we've been fencing together? Del's
Yes!
like, yeah. Do you have it highlighted?
No.
Okay. And he goes, I haven't told you. I've been holding back. And then he just attacks. Anyway, the only thing that saves Griff. Anyway, the only thing that saves this man's life is her coming in and being like, Griff, no, you don't want to do this. Like, regardless of anything else, you cannot kill this man. You do not want to do this. And he says, look at that. It's a lowly barmaid who's saving your life right now. And then he looks at her and he's like, fuck it. I want you. Yeah.
Well, and he tells her he's going to marry her that day. Like, this is happening.
We're going to get a special license today.
And then the Duchess walks in and is delightfully snarky in front of Del about how she already knows he's an asshole and that Griff is in love with Pauline. And then
this is the best.
Somebody they get on to Pauline about keeping secrets, and she says, you would chastise me.
Before that, the Duchess says something like, so you're getting married? And Griff says yes. At the same time, Pauline says no. No. And then the Duchess goes, oh, so am I the deciding vote? They're both like, no.
Which is hilarious. Griff should have said yes, because guess what? Duchess was going to say yes, too. But anyway, But then it all falls apart because Pauline says,
Oh,
you would
God.
chastise me for hiding secrets, for not living the truth? You, with that locked room upstairs? The color drained from his face. He darted a gaze at his mother, then lowered his voice. This has nothing to do with... Of course it does! She retreated a step. You're asking me to trust you'll love me openly, that you'll never be embarrassed or resentful of my origins, my family. How can I believe those promises when you won't tell your own mother about her?
And he's like, stop, roll it back. And like his eyes are daggers right now. And she knows that she is sacrificing her relationship with him in order to preserve his relationship with his mom. Because she's like, I'm gone anyway. Hate me as much as you want to, but please talk to each other. Take solace in each other. And so she says, you're ashamed of her. And he says, I am not ashamed of her. And she says, then say her name. And he just yells, Mary.
Her name was Mary. Mary Annabelle York, born the 14th day of last October, died the following week. She lived all of 6 days, and I loved her more than my own life. He turned away from her, leveling a small table with a single savage kick. God damn it. Oh. The Duchess pressed a hand to her mouth. This scene fucked me up so hard.
I know, and I don't remember if it's now or in the scene in the room, but he says something like I don't need a girl to come in and save me and teach me how to love because I've already met that girl. And he says she was about yay big.
It was in the room.
And he holds his hand. Yeah, he holds his hands like about a foot apart. And like she had no hair and no teeth. Oh my God.
And it was so funny, but so fucking sad.
Yeah.
So then this is definitely the third act breakup because she goes with Susanna and Minerva because she runs out of the house basically. Doesn't she run into Susanna like on the road?
No, because everybody's there. Everybody and their mother and the town
Shows
pauper is outside being like, let's get a look at the barmaid.
Oh,
because of those scandal
yeah.
sheets. Somebody offers her £5 for an interview with the prattler and like all the business. And so she's like, I can't go back inside and face Griff, but I also can't get through this mob. And then Susanna's like, I've got the carriage. Come
before
here.
that, can I tell you like the most heartbreaking quote? So
of course.
she looks at him and says, I didn't want it to end this way. I hoped we could part as friends. He tapped one finger against the window glass. If you don't believe that I'd change anything, give up everything, move heaven and earth to keep someone I love, even if it's only been a week, then you don't know me at all. It seems I was wrong about you too.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Devastating.
So, then she's outside. She goes and gets saved by Susanna. And then there was the most like friendship heartwarming quote about how Susanna and Minerva are going to handle everything. She's still going to go to the ball. Because she's like, I'm just going to leave and go to Daniela. But they're like, no, you need to go to this ball and prove that you are not what these people are calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Prove
and
them
you're
all
not
wrong.
going to scuttle away in shame. You're not ashamed of who you are.
Mm-mm. No.
And she's on the fence, but then Flora comes in and she's like, I've been sacked and I have this dress and everything and I don't have a reference. And so I figured if I made you beautiful and it made the papers, I might be able to get another job.
Yeah. And like, we all knew.
Yeah.
We all knew she was not sacked. Of course she wasn't sacked.
No.
Adorable.
But anyway, they get ready and they go in and
she realizes she's not going to be able to be on the list.
yeah, she will have been removed from the list. And so she decides to like go around the side through a servant's entrance and like she, you know, she whiles around and she's about to get to the major domo, who is the guy who yells the names into the place.
Lady Pauline of Bell and Blossom?
That's the one, yeah. And
I'm sorry, Miss
runs
Pauline?
Miss Pauline Sims. She runs into Delacour And he's like, you don't belong here. I'm here to protect Griff no matter what. And he gives her a 5-pound note.
I wanted her to kick him in the balls so fucking bad.
I know, but she does it with phlegm instead. She classily kicks him in the balls by saying, "Go to hell," with a real hard H in there.
H. Well, and then she gets in there, finds Griff, finds out that Flora was not sacked and was sent there by him. And he tells her that
he comes immediately over to her, and the first words he says to her is, "You don't belong here." And she's like, "Oh no," and she's gutted. And then he says, "The most beautiful woman in the room should not be hiding amongst the potted plants. You should be out in the center. Come here."
And then my favorite fucking scene in the entire goddamn book. They run into Lady Awful together, and he tells her the entire sordid story, and he takes her dance card and starts writing down the important notes, and like Pauline is popping in randomly with like more commentary. And then when he's done, he's like, "I was going to ask you to dance, but it would appear that your dance card is full."
Yeah. So I guess I'll just dance with Pauline instead. My favorite line of that was, because he tells her everything. He tells her about the kidnapping. He tells her about, his trick that he was playing on his mom and all the things. And he's like, it was supposed to be a trick on the mom trying to kidnap him too.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, it was supposed to be a trick on my mom. It was supposed to be a hilarious trick played on the ton. But it turns out that I played a trick on myself because I accidentally and irrevocably fell in love with this barmaid. And then he goes, "Whoops." And so he's like, "Oh, hold on, let me write that down." And then as he's finishing, Pauline, right over his shoulder, looking over, is like, "Oh, no, add the whoops. That was the best part." Like, it's so cute.
It was the best part. And then
so I thought the book was over.
No,
but it turns out this is the Tessa Dare book that has 5 endings.
And not a single one of them is an epilogue.
No, not a single damn one of them.
Single one. So they end up dancing. She's like, "I've fulfilled the end of my bargain as a complete disaster." And he's like, "No, you're not going to be the toast of London tonight." But I think that it's fine. A comprehensive catastrophe, a beautiful, perfect failure, and I could not be more proud. Oh!
But then he says, "I've got my fastest team ready to take you home."
To Daniela!
And she's like, yeah, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's so wonderful, but also I hate it because that means that he still doesn't want me." And he kisses her in front of God and everybody.
And then he gives her a sovereign coin for Daniela because he knows she'll need a penny.
And he says, "You've got a lot of work to do, but more important than that, I've got a lot of work to do to live up to the family legacy. So I've got the carriage waiting for you, and it's going to take you home." And she gets in and she's like, "Oh my God, that was goodbye. We're never going to see each other again." Oh no, he tries to pay her before she gets in the carriage. He's like getting out his checkbook. Right. And she's like, "Oh my God, no." She like shrivels up inside and she's like, "No, I can't. I absolutely cannot take your money."
You ever just think about how easy it would be to forge a check in 1815?
Back in England times? Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't even get caught. You forge a big enough check and you're just gone.
I mean, you would definitely get caught.
Bitch, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. Here we come, Mexico.
Yeah, maybe if you fucked off immediately. And I guess it would be maybe a little bit easier if,
honestly,
instead of like being a servant and trying to pawn something, because they always got caught if they tried to pawn something.
If you literally just fucking write a check and get that fucking bitch cashed and leave, I feel like it wouldn't even have to be a big check, right? Like,
yeah, who knows?
It could be a $25,000 nowadays check, and that'll get you out of town.
It's true. Anyway,
and I was like, what?
So
a couple of pounds?
Says, yeah, it's like 3 cents. back in England times. So she says, I absolutely cannot take your money. I think I would feel cheap and it would tarnish everything that's happened in the last week. Like, and so he says, okay, I guess I'll respect that. So he puts her in the carriage and she gets home.
Before she's home, Griff goes home, confesses everything to his mother, and then his mom gives him the ugliest scarf in the whole fucking world, and he says that it feels like the warmest hug he's ever gotten.
Tightest hug.
Oh, and then she's home, and they make it in time for Daniela to go to church with her coin, and she gets back to see her bestie, and there's a package, and then a quote that made me cry like a fucking baby was, because the package was the crate of books, and she says, he knew her. This crate of books said, he knew her to the deepest, most hidden places of her soul. He respected her as a person with thoughts and dreams and desires. He loved her. He truly did. And most poignant of all, this crate of books held one clear, undeniable message.
Oh!
Goodbye.
Ugh!
Yeah.
You're a ding dong.
And
it doesn't mean goodbye. He's coming for you.
I would think the same thing. I would think the exact same thing.
Oh God,
Like,
I'd like to. I like to think that I wouldn't, but I think I'd also be thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how does it mean
the other
anything
thing
else?
I know. One of the reasons that she says this crate of books proves that he loves her and he sees her and he understands her is because everything is bound in red leather except one book, which is bound in that kid skin fawn leather that she was just fondling but not saying anything about. And it is a book of her favorite poet.
I know.
Like, how the fuck dare everyone?
It's so
So-
beautiful and so sad.
Anyway, yeah, we jump to months later. The Two Sisters Lending Library is open, and it's been open for about a month, and it's a huge success. And like it's chock full of women, and then one of them goes, "Who's that coming across the square?"
Guess what, bitch? It's Griff.
Holy shit! And so she's like, "There's no way. There's absolutely no way it would be him. He said goodbye to me. Like, no." But then he walks in. And Charlotte is like, one of the ladies called Charlotte is like, "I'll take care of this." Go ahead.
Well, then, so he goes to walk in and he has to say a line of poetry or say a rhyme to get into the library. And so he says, "There once was a libertine duke. He preferred trout and cod to klook. He let his love go, but he wants her to know. I haven't ceased thinking of you since that night, Pauline. Not for a moment."
And Charlotte's like, "That's terrible. That doesn't even rhyme." And then she tries to say that he wants her to know every time he thinks of her face, he wants to puke. And he's like, no, absolutely not. That is not the way this rhyme will end. And then Pauline said, "He deserves a stern rebuke." And he says, "I will take that one. Can I please come in? Please." So they let him in and he comes over there and she says, "Stop right where you are. I can't do this. Like, you can't just waltz into my life anytime you want to. It's going to emotionally destroy me. And so unless you're here to fall on your knees and propose marriage to me, you need to leave." And then there's like this pause and then he hits his knees. And he's like, "I had a whole speech. I didn't think it was going to go this way. I thought maybe you'd let me get a couple of sentences in."
He hits the ground and she says, "Oh no, Griff, no." And he's like, "You can't refuse before I even ask."
Yeah. Oh my God. So anyway, he asked her to marry him. And they have this whole talk about like how things will go and how things will be different and all those sorts of things. He's bought that asshole Lady Whittlebottom's house from the top of episode 1. And he has plans to like make Sussex his main home with her. And she she like
And
finally
he sold
she's like,
everything. He donated like everything. And it's so
Yeah.
funny because Charlotte is now bemoaning this fact, like groans, and they're like, "What's that?" And he's like, "I could give it all away. That's the improvement. That's what I can do to make things better. I was overdue for some improvement." And she's like, "All of it?" "Oh no," Charlotte moaned. "Now he's worse than an arrogant, debauched duke. Now he's a poor duke."
And he says, "I will never be a pauper. Like, there are some things I legally can't give away. But everything that I could, I decided I would." And he says,
found my
Duke,
natural talent.
yes.
I was born to give money away. No more of this squander a few thousand here or there nonsense. This is a full systematic divestiture of the family's dispensable fortune. The 8th Duke of Halford will be remembered as the single largest charitable benefactor in England's history. This will be my legacy. Talk about a
Holy
tax-deductible ass.
I mean, I didn't know that the sexiest words in the English language was a systematic divestiture.
A full systematic divestiture of the family's dispensable fortune. Like, one of the sexiest things is the wealthiest person being like, "I'm fucking getting rid of it. I don't fucking want it anymore. I want you. I'm going to put all of it into good places. And like, you're worth more to me than the billions of dollars that I can legally get rid of."
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing, right? Like, not only is it a big romance, it's also just fucking practical. Because no human on this earth can actually
Needs that much money.
that much, well, or can physically spend it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get rid of it.
Like the fact that Jeff Bezos and his wife got divorced, and she has given away most of the wealth she got from that divorce, and yet still is incredibly rich and comfortable, is like, what the fuck? Everybody,
Well, it just boggles my
come
mind
on.
because the amount of extremely obscenely wealthy people we have in the US, poverty wouldn't exist if they just
No.
got rid of half their wealth. And even just getting rid of half their wealth, they would still have more wealth than they could ever know what to do with.
Exactly. Like, nobody needs that much money in one place. You just don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's like, yeah, I gave away all of the dispensable wealth and I can still like build us a fucking mansion in Sussex. My favorite in the epilogue, because there is an epilogue and it's years later and Minerva's having a baby and he's describing his life. Did you not read the epilogue?
I have no quotes and no notes from an epilogue.
Oh, let me tell you about the epilogue. It's great.
Tell me about it.
So all the men are down in the bowling basket, the bull and barrel, and they're drinking. I can't remember what this fucking game is
the
called.
Bell and Blossom. It took me a hot. I was like, what the fuck is
there we
Mel
go.
talking about? Okay. Keep going.
They got kicked out of the house because Minerva is in labor. She's giving birth about a month early, which is dicey, especially in England times, but they kicked the men out of the house because he just couldn't handle it. What's up?
You are right. There is an epilogue. I knew you were right. This was too much information for you to just be making it up off the top of your head.
Yeah.
But like, how did I just not? I was just like,
I don't know.
Book's over. Book's over.
Bye.
Get up. Closing time.
You
All
don't
right,
have to
continue.
go home, but you can't
Read here.
So anyway, they're all down there, and one of the other guys is being like, "I can't wait to meet your girl baby." And Colin's like, they haven't been born yet. We don't know that it's going to be a girl baby. And he's like, no, Susanna calls it the Spindle Cove effect. Every first child in a family is going to be a girl baby. Well, except for Ashford or Hastings or whatever Sebastian's name is. And so he thinks to himself, he didn't want to, it wasn't the right time to correct them about Mary. Because you don't want to talk about your infant dying, when your friend is about to be a father.
Yeah.
But I think he says he took a thoughtful sip in her memory. But that's when we find out that it's not Pauline in labor, but that she's already done it twice. They have a little boy and a little girl. And they're like the happiest. And she comes in a little while later and tells Colin, he says, "How is she?" And then Pauline says, "Which she? Your wife or your daughter?" And the other guy is like, "Yeah, told you." And she says, "They're fine. They're healthy. They're resting. Like, it's wonderful."
Oh my God.
She says, "Hey, I need you to take the kids for a minute because I have to run over to the lending library or whatever." And he says, "Okay, but I'm going to need something in return for my trouble." And so she whispers in his ear, "Later." And he says, "I'm going to hold you to that." And then he describes their like unique life as Duke and Duchess because they've got a weird, not customary life. They live in Sussex most of the time. The Duchess runs a lending library, and their kids like always hang. The Duchess always enters the Bull and Blossom from the back, in the back entrance, the servants' entrance, like the employee entrance, and it's just the best. And then he says, and their children play with all of the other children. It doesn't matter their economic place in the world.
Yeah.
And they're always covered in lumpy, ill-fitting sweaters.
Oh, because
my God.
Dowager made them.
Yes. And listener, I'm so sorry. One thing that we didn't say about the proposal scene is that he says, he's like telling her all of the things he's thought about for their life going forward. And he says, "We'll have Daniela with us. And I know you said that Daniela doesn't like change. And so I was thinking that we could just decorate each room, like whatever room is hers in the house, exactly the same way in all of our estates so that she'll always feel at home. And it like her space won't feel like wrong."
Changed.
And then he said, and we can also get her like a companion if you want. And she's just like swoon after swoon after fucking swoon. And she's like, "I'm so thankful that you've thought about Daniela like this." And he says, "There's no need to thank me. I've been an only child my whole life. I'm so excited to have a sister." Like the whole thing is too much.
Well, hang on, but it does. We skipped one other very important thing in the proposal.
Tell me.
Because she
Tell
says,
listener.
"It's too much. You're being too perfect. Quickly, say something horrid so I know this isn't a dream." And he says, "Very well. I have a creeping skin condition, and I hoot like a barn owl when I reach orgasm. But I know very well those things aren't true. They weren't true a few months ago. I think you'd better strip me naked and make sure nothing's changed." That fucking hoot.
Well, especially since that's a callback. That's something she said to him when he's going to hire her. Yeah, she's like, "You don't know anything about me. I could have a creeping skin condition and hoot like a barn owl when I come." He's like, "No,
That's not what happens."
Tessa Dare, how dare you write another fucking perfect book?
I can't, okay, so I definitely can't make promises about when we will do this just because of, you and I are chock busy the next couple of weeks already. But I do really want to read at least, another one or two of these books. And we can talk about them for Patreon and just basically squee about how extraordinary Tessa Dare and her writing is. And if you haven't read Tessa Dare, listener, and you like a historical, hell, even if you don't like a historical, but you like fun, witty, thoughtful books, this is it.
And
this is it.
And she does the perfect combination of funny and tragic or funny and poignant. You know, there's always that beautiful balance in her writing that's just I'm crying, but also that was a hilarious turn of phrase.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Oh God. It's just so wonderful.
Anyway,
so
next week we're doing In the Middle of Somewhere, and I've already read book 2 of that series, so we're going to be talking about that for Patreon at the least.
At the very least, because I suspect I'm only 3 chapters in on this book, and I can already tell that I'm going to be devouring the hell out of this in my
And all the rest of them.
Expansive free time. So much free time.
All the free time.
To do.
It's going to happen. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be
We're
wonderful.
not going to ignore
Anyway.
any of our responsibilities to read the next 4 books in that series.
No, not even close. I've been so good at my responsibilities anyway, so like
Totally. Okay,
damn
Sabrina,
it, I forgot what I
lady
literally
love?
said what my lady love was
It's
going to
your
be at the
markers.
beginning. Oh yeah. All right, I got fucking watercolor markers and they're fucking incredible. They're like $70 on Amazon. Oh god, Jeff Bezos. But anyway,
I'm sorry everyone, but
But they were like $70 and they're fucking incredible. They have like a fine tip side. There's 160 colors, including diverse skin colors. It's incredible. And then the other side is a watercolor felt brush style thing that if you actually like make the paper wet and then you draw with them on the thingamabob, it does the watercolor thing. And to go along with all of this, I bought myself a book, please hold,
yeah,
called Stunning Watercolor Seascapes. And it is a how-to, like, step-by-step paint a watercolor scene of a bunch of seascapes. And I'm just...
fun.
I am so fucking excited and delighted. And look at this.
Oh boy, that's gonna be
Look
gorgeous.
at that. I'm very excited. I've gotten back into watercoloring or like coloring in general, and I'll probably be reading a lot more audiobooks because of it. And I'm just really happy. Makes me happy. So that's my lady love. Buy yourself some fucking markers. Because I have so many markers and colored pencils already, but if they're not giving you the joy that you need in order to do the thing, fucking when you can, go buy yourself a nice ass set of markers.
Right. The thing that lets you do the exact type of art you want to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My lady love is, I don't care what time of day it is. If you feel the need to bake yourself some brownies, whether it's just on a whim or as an emotional crutch of some sort, you go ahead and you bake those brownies, okay? Because like I said, I dropped off my family last night and I'm so excited for them. But, you know, it was just the weirdest feeling in the whole wide world. Like sending them off and like coming back home, you know? And I did. It was 1:00 in the morning. And I was like, I'm wired anyway from like the tea I drank to make sure that I could be like a really safe driver there and back. And it was it was like JFK traffic. There was standstill traffic even at midnight at one point coming from JFK back to my house.
That tracks.
Yeah. And it was just like, it was a stressful thing in general on top of like what I was actually doing. And so I was just like, you know what? I definitely want a brownie right now, but I also know that I'm going to love having a brownie every once in a while for the next 5 days. So like, let's do it.
Fuck yeah.
It was a great choice.
I also think it's very bold of you to say that the brownies are going to last you 5 days.
How dare you? I thought that as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, it's going to be a maximum of 2.
Yeah. I love you.
I've already eaten 4 of them this morning. So...
Well, I feel that because the friend who was hanging out with me this weekend to, help, just keep an eye on during some stuff that's going on. Made peach cobbler, but I don't have any sugar in the house. We used molasses instead of sugar to make the peach cobbler. It made that bitch so crunchy on the edges and sticky, and like the peach goes so fucking well with it. I think I'm going to eat that before eat some of that at some point today before I go back to being an adult.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well.
All right, everybody. Keep being a badass
and love yourself as much as you love hooting like an owl when you orgasm.
And love yourself as much as you love every blue-blooded vein in somebody's body beating only for you.
Yeah, because they are yours. Yeah, that's a good one. Hoot. I think it's worse if it's like a super quiet one where it's like,
Ooh, yeah, you're right. That sounds more like a dove.
As much as you love cooing like a dove when you orgasm. Softly.
All right, bye.
I love you. Bye.
Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle.
Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice review, and of course, tell all your friends about us, even if they don't read romance.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Head over to our website to sign up for our newsletter, get our Reading Embrace printable, and check out my audiobooks at heavingbosoms.com. All right, we'll be back next week with more swoons and snark. See you then.